From the Clark Ford Studio in Oxford, Mississippi, MBW Digital proudly presents the Oxford Exxon Podcast.
I'd say thanks for tuning in, but why am I going to give you a round of applause for something that you're supposed to do, to be frank?
And now, here are your hosts, Chase Parham.
And broadcast school has really paid off.
And Neal McCready.
I deserve to be on TV.
Wednesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal McCready, coming to you from the Clark Ford Studio today. We'll talk a lot of reaction to the Matt Luke end-of-season press conference yesterday, as well as Ross Bjork giving the media a little time following that as well. You can watch the video. You can see quick hits. You can see the story from Ross, or the story by Neal, discussing Ross's comments on RebelGrove.com.
I was going to say,
Ross did not write the content.
The story.
He did not.
Give me a little credit.
You can do that at RebelGrove.com. You can also still sign up with our 99 Cyber deal. It is still going. I appreciate those of you who have taken advantage of that.
Are we still top 10?
We were we were, I think, 7th overall. We were number 4 yesterday.
Yeah.
And we were number 9 the day before.
Yeah, we were number 2 the last time we broke this puppy out.
Yeah. There's some coaching stuff going on around the country that's a little bit of a steroid for these things.
Yeah,
that we do not
the deal
have.
at Auburn's simply unfair. Tate has an unfair advantage.
Frankly, he's not doing as well as he should be. He should be reprimanded based off a net gain, given what is going on around his program.
We're
right
taping
now.
a greatest spot in the South, and I probably
gonna fill
won't
him in on that?
reprimand him because I want to get the story. Gabe and I are just fascinated. We're going to.
Usually when I call him out on this podcast, somehow it gets back to him, and then he comes at me with what are you talking about? So, it'll get there eventually. I'm pretty sure.
His stuff on the Gus Malzahn thing has been absolutely excellent.
Last night might have been his best one yet. So number 6, part 6 in his
part 6 of
his,
the truth.
Yeah,
as I see it.
Yes,
by J.G. Tate.
Yeah, by J.G. Tate.
No, it really, in all seriousness, I joke about Jay a lot. He is a gifted writer, and some of the stuff he's written has just been.
He's a really good common sense writer. I'm just going to lay it out for you. I'm going to kind of throw some jokes in here or there, and we're going to go on about our day. So
Gabe and I talked to each other yesterday, and I told him, I said, I read part 6 twice.
So you can see that at auburnsports.com, but you can see our content at rebelgrove.com. Again, use the 99 Cyber code if you're a monthly sub, or if you've been on the fence and you'd like an annual sub, take advantage of that now at rebelgrove.com. This podcast brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. Lunch specials, ribs, daiquiris, as big as 44 ounces, as little as $3.99 if you so wish for that. You get a large daiquiri and a lunch special for like under $10. I mean, you really can't beat that at all. That's a hell of a deal. You can get that in a rebelgrove.com subscription for less than a 20 spot every month. Just saying.
It's true.
You get a lunch, a large daiquiri, a 44-ounce daiquiri, and a subscription for under a 20
spot. Throw you
spot.
an NPW digital koozie.
We could.
Yeah.
That's what I'll do, like set some sort of little package up where you get the koozie.
Yeah.
Because if nothing else, my wife would love for those to get out of my office at some point. So I've got like 700 koozies in my office. But anyway, one of them made it to a bar floor in Nashville a couple weekends ago.
I heard that.
A buddy picked it up, and he sent me a text. He goes, "Hey, can I get this signed?" I was like, "Okay, great, thanks, appreciate that." Signed koozies are more honest, obviously.
We had groupies in Nashville.
There was a couple tables that could have been groupies.
Yeah.
Yeah. As I said on the podcast, I had one girl who told me she was the queen of the 4%.
Yeah, I'm aware of her.
Were you aware of her?
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
No, just that. I was aware of her presence.
You say that with a negative connotation.
No, nothing negative at all.
Okay.
Just was aware.
All right. Tell us about Clark Ford before we get really off path this morning.
Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi. 662-257-1900 is the number. You call the number. You ask for Corey Clark, and you tell Corey what you're looking for, what you're interested in, and it's really that simple. He sends you a quote within 15 minutes, right to the bottom line, no hassle, no haggle. He gets your information, and he sees what he can do for you. And he's motivated to do it this way because what it allows him to do, basically, and I mean this nicely, is get you what you need and then put the ball back in your court, and he moves on until you're ready to move on. So you get the quote, and then you can do what you want with it. You can shop it around. You can study on it. You can think about it. You'll end up coming back to Corey because that's the best deal you're going to get because it's right to that bottom line. Clark Ford and Amory, 662-257-1900. Tell Corey that you heard about Clark Ford on our podcast. Any member of our family of podcast works, it'll save you $500. 662-257-1900.
All right. we're going to get into this. A couple things before we do. First, Austin Barbour joining us today here in a bit. One of our MPW political consultants, if you will. So, over the years,
this little potato log podcast that could has two pretty big time political consultants. The little podcast that could. We have one of the more prominent political strategist in the state of Mississippi, and we have the deputy White House press secretary. I mean, imagine what we would be if we were a real podcast. I mean, we might have the damn president on here.
Give it time. So, yeah, I'm kidding. I mean,
that would be a coup.
It would be a coup. Yeah. Let me put in that request real quick.
Yeah.
Hey, Sarah Sanders, need a little help here. Anyway, we're going to talk. We're going to talk politics. It's going to be at the end of the show. If you don't want to listen, just turn it off. Don't make a bunch of message board threads. Do me that favor. I would really appreciate it. So, thanks, guys. Anyway,
we both voted yesterday,
so we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
And okay, let's see. Oh, a couple other things before we get going. Just a couple public service announcements.
Oh, you got more stuff?
I mean, I don't have a lot, but I just want to mention it now because I'm going to forget once we get moving. So, Jeffrey Simmons wins the Connerly Trophy last night. Look,
was it a?
He's a hell of a football player.
Was it a beatdown?
There's no doubt. He beat the competition. He's a hell of a football player.
He is one hell of a football player.
It's freaking sponsored by C-Spire. Does anyone not have a hand-raised guy to nominate Montez Sweat or someone else that's incredibly good at football as well? You know what I mean?
When you're in the business of selling cell phones?
Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, it's not. This has nothing to do with A.J. Brown. Nominate somebody else. Come on. I mean,
Simmons.
This is a stupid look.
Simmons is going to be fascinating for the NFL because he's an impact player at a position of needed impact in the National Football League. He's also a PR disaster.
It appears he's had a very clean record in Starkville. He's been fine.
Yeah, but there's video.
That's worth noting.
There's video. Like the Cubs, for example, today, I think it's today, have to make a decision about whether to tender Addison Russell a contract or not. There's no video. And I don't know what they're going to do.
Well, video changes everything. We've had this discussion on the podcast 1,000 times. Ray Rice gets penalized and all that stuff. Then the video comes out, and it goes again to another level because there's video, even though the descriptions were exactly what was on the video.
Ezekiel Elliott. The video was a killer.
Joe Mixon, even though he's escaped that somehow.
Yeah, I mean, that's boy.
That's a whole other deal.
That's a whole other deal.
But anyway, just come on. I mean, anyway, I don't want to get down that because we have other things going on today. And then also, we're all Sooners on Saturday. The Big 12 has come out saying that horns down will be a penalty because it is taunting an opponent.
Sooner.
Never been more for Oklahoma. We always make fun of Texas anyway. It's always easy.
Boomer Sooner.
Yeah. He had Sam, was it Ellinger, the quarterback at Texas?
Yes.
He sent out a now deleted tweet that said, "I remember every single team or player that disrespects the rich tradition of the University of Texas by putting the horns down. Do not think it will be forgotten in the future."
Boomer.
Good job, guys.
Sooner.
It's great. All right.
Boomer.
Anything else before we go? That was my two.
Go OU.
Go OU?
Yep.
All right. It's the talk of everything right now. Yesterday, Matt Luke gives his closing press conference for the season. Ross Bjork discusses the soon-to-be scheduled, I'm assuming, meeting between himself and Greg Sankey and John Cohen. And we'll break this up into parts a little bit.
Okay.
We'll take one at a time. We'll start with sort of just the overall deal, overall mood, overall reaction, because Neil and I both made a comment to each other before we started recording that we weren't exactly sure what we were going to say because I've kind of gone through levels of what I thought as the hours have passed. I kind of had an immediate thought, and then you get away from it for a minute, and then you see the internet, and I don't just mean a message board, I mean the internet all the way around, and you go, wow. And what's it? Okay.
I see my phone.
Yeah, that too. Because, I mean, I had multiple texts from people last night going, what are y'all doing tomorrow? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm figuring that out. So this is what struck me.
I like your hat, by the way.
You like this hat?
It's very nice.
Really?
Yeah, it's a very...
I didn't even know which one I had on.
It's a subtle design. I like it.
Yeah, subtle design.
It's good. I like it a lot. Seriously.
Okay. So on its face, you saw a Matt Luke press conference where he provided some fire for the first time. He was not robotic as far as his emotions whatsoever. And we're going to get in detail about what he said in a bit. And with Ross, on its face, you got an AD that seemed very motivated to stand up for his university. Those were the quotes. On their face, they were whatever. Here's the problem both of them have, is we kind of just have the overarching thing.
Okay.
They don't have any capital left, either one of them. For Matt, fair, unfair, your call, but it's the way it is. How many capital left? There's no trust. There's no willing to wait and see. There's no patience anymore. There's no introductory period. There's no honeymoon period. There's none of that. And in a lot of ways, yesterday, somebody said it to me and they were right. It sort of felt like day one. Well, it's not day one. It's day 370 of one and whatever of the other. And nobody was over. I mean, it shows the mood of the fan base that in overall perception, you got what you wanted yesterday from both of them. But it wasn't exactly what they wanted, and that's what is being determined right now. For Ross Bjork, I think it's the easiest place to start. He had very strong quotes. He did. He had a different tenor. Again, as soon as we got done, I kind of thought, it's one of his better performances. And I was not over there, but I heard enough of it from where I was sitting.
I was standing right next to him, and I thought it was one of his better ones because it was very clear what he was referencing.
Yeah, it was very clear.
Yeah, this is the problem. People want, and I don't know. Look, I haven't been an AD in weeks, and I haven't been a commissioner in several months, so I don't know how all of this works. It's very clear Ross was talking about the NCAA investigation, and Parrish offered, to his credit, instead of just assuming that he was talking about the NCAA investigation, Parrish of the Northeast Mississippi Daily Journal, asked him, Ross, I assume you're referring to the NCAA investigation, to which Ross...
You all see what I see, or whatever.
You all have seen what I've seen, or whatever.
Meaning,
that's
yes.
paraphrasing the quote. Meaning, yeah, that's exactly it.
But
I don't know why he can't say it.
Yeah, but the point being, all fans want to hear, yes, I'm going to go into that room and I'm going to point at Greg Sankey and I'm going to point at John Cohen and say, you guys are the problem. You started this, and Sankey, your immunity and all that stuff allowed this thing to get here. Now, look, yes, we do need to calm down, but let's point some fingers and turn them around at yourselves and say all that publicly to the fans because, and again, canny, I have no idea. I don't know some of the inner workings here. I'm admitting that off the top. But
neither one of us have been an AD in a long time.
I don't know.
It's been a while.
Yeah. So, but point being, that is what fans wanted, and that's all fans are going to accept. And that's the problem here. And that's what I talk about capital and all these different things, is that because you're bankrupt on all these different things from a standpoint of your constituents and your fan base,
your credit card doesn't work.
Yeah, you're bankrupt. That's the only thing that gets you that loan back or any sort of whatever is doing that.
You
and
know
if
what,
that's not possible, it's not there.
To take your banking analogy all the way, it's because it's actually a really good one. I haven't thought about it like this. The only thing that works now is cash.
Yeah.
No one's taking your check.
You have no credit.
No one's taking your check, and no one's even thinking about your credit card. You're not going to take PayPal.
Your credit score is like 300.
Yeah, they only want cash. And frankly, they're going to go check the cash to make sure it's legit. And that's where they are. And is that fair? I don't have any idea. I'm kind of to the point where I'm through with fair. They're going to have to. I told people this yesterday. If yesterday was day one, then day two better be this. And you're going to get into this too. Day two better be more of the same. And it better even get stronger and stronger. There's no turning back now. As an administration, as a football program, as anything, there's no turning back now. When you lose the public trust, there's only one way to get it back, and it is to completely go down that road. It's hard.
If things were swimming along even at a mediocre level or an average level based off Ole Miss's history, and there wasn't all the tumult that's going on, Ross Bjork's stuff yesterday would have resonated. It would have been fine. It would have been okay. You get in there and show them Ross, whatever. But
because it's over. I mean,
there's no extra penalty here other than them figuring out what wins are vacated and what wins aren't vacated.
Yeah.
That's literally the only thing left. So, but every fan, and I don't mean the crazies. I don't mean all the message board posters that do nothing but post every day. I'm talking logical, successful people that are.
You're saying our message board's full of crazy? So
I'm saying
take that back right now.
Sir, there's a portion of the message board that is a little nuts, yes. I'm not calling out anyone by name.
I want the record to say that I did not say that. I love all of you.
Yeah. I love you, but you're nuts. You're my drunk uncle at a reunion. But
sometimes that's the fun uncle.
Point being, it sounded too much like we're going to tell our story someday. It sounded too much like, hey, in Covington we'd said this and we really fought for you. And it sounded too much like during the investigation we had to do it behind closed doors, but we really fought for you. Not saying you didn't do that, but they don't believe you.
Yeah.
So that's the point. Is it was just, it mimicked more of the same from the people that were expecting or hoping or wanting this real public declaration of, we all know whose fault it was, so tell us that, tell them that publicly, and let's get moving.
This allows me to go into something that I've kind of wanted to explain before. When I say you're emotional as a fan and fans get pissed off at that, well, the truth is you're emotional. I do believe they fought in that room in Covington.
Oh, no doubt.
I have absolutely 100. I have no doubt. Zero. I know for a fact.
I have great sources on that.
I have incredible sources on what happened inside that room in Covington, and I know for an absolute fact that they fought hard, bare-knuckled. Hell, they might have put the brass knuckles on. There was a fight. I know that for an absolute fact. I think they have fought behind closed doors. When I asked Ross yesterday, and I asked him, I said, I assume that the stuff you're talking about, you've said to Sankey before. He said, oh, yeah, it won't be the first time he's heard any of it. Roughly. I don't remember the exact quote, but that's paraphrased. I believe that 100%. But I'm not emotional about it. I can be more rational about it. The people who are emotional, you're exactly right, and they have to realize this. And they have to realize it soon, I think. Those people, they don't want political correct. They're tired of it. I dare say I'm going to do a political thing.
They want some Trumpian.
Yep. They're Trump voters in 2016. They're lined up in the rain to vote for the guy that's telling it, in their view, the way it is. Give me hyperbole. Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me thick, boy. And I think they're going to have to do that. I do. We talked about this some yesterday, you and me. Ross Bjork came on our podcast the day after the NCAA thing came down, and I thought he gave a great interview. I thought he was frank. I thought he was honest. I thought he was candid.
I thought he gave very accurate rationale on the things that they fought and won throughout the process until it got crazy.
But you know what the people want? They want it to end blow by blow. They want the truth. Even though I think he told them the truth, they want more truth. They want to know blow by blow.
Hey, that Instagram or that whatever happens on draft night, then what y'all do? What was next? Then what?
Yeah.
Then what?
And then what? They just I don't think people have closure on it yet. And I think they're angry. And then when Sankey comes out, look, let's talk seriously about what happened on Thursday night. Mississippi State kicked Ole Miss's ass on that football field. I don't mean the fight. I mean at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
They were a better program. They were a better team. It was a beat down. And then they celebrated it in much the same way that Ole Miss celebrated the game the year before. And it made people mad. And then Sankey has the audacity to publicly do that. Greg Sankey could have so easily sent a private note to Cohen, to Bjork, to whoever that says, hey, get your asses to Birmingham, December the whatever, at 2 o'clock. Be in my office. We're going to sit down and we're going to have a talk.
No, Greg Sankey is much more worried about grandstanding than running his conference.
Yes. He looks like an ass today. He looks weak. I'll say it. You look weak. You are an absolute. You remember that moment?
All the tire flipping and CrossFit's not helping you in this one.
You remember that moment in the vice presidential election? It was Lloyd Benson and Dan Quayle, and Dan Quayle talked about how he had as much experience. You've probably seen the video. Dan Quayle says he had as much experience as a young John F. Kennedy, and Lloyd Benson handed a hanging curveball, swung at it really hard, and said, "You, sir, are no John F. Kennedy." Or no Jack Kennedy.
Yeah.
Implying that obviously he had known Jack Kennedy. And it was one of those seminal moments.
Yeah.
Right now, Greg Sankey is no Mike Slav. I will maintain, and look, I'm a 48-year-old man who has covered this league for a long time, and I've covered more than Ole Miss. And so I can say this with a degree of certainty. And I think I said this yesterday, so I'll be quick. Mike Slav would never, ever, 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 ever have allowed this to happen. Now, in 2013, Ole Miss people would not have liked Mike Slav because Mike Slav would have called Hugh Freeze into his office, and Ross Bjork as well, into his office in Birmingham, and he would have looked them square in the eye and said, so here's the deal. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're not doing, but I know what about 8 people in this league have said that Barney Farrar is doing. Now, this arrangement is over. It is over today. Let me make that clear. This is done.
And he'd have pissed you off that day, but he would have saved you.
He would have said, you either need to put him on the field or you need to fire his ass. One or the other, and do it, by God, this time tomorrow, or else the wrath of this league is coming down on you, and you don't want that. And Ole Miss would have been pissed off, and Hugh Freeze would have played the victim card, and the whole thing would have gone away.
Well, because Slav also would have called the rest of the league and go, now shut up.
Yep.
Move on. It's handled. Go about your business.
Get back to business.
Stop whining about Robert Kamichi. Yeah. We're moving on.
Yeah. If you don't like it, beat them.
Yeah.
Shut up. And then in 2016, had it possibly gotten there, on draft night, he would have, number one, found out the NCAA was investigating, and he would have said stop. Number two, he would have gone to Ole Miss on the night of draft night and said, you clearly have a problem, and we are going to solve it right now. You might not have the capital to fire the Sugar Bowl winning coach, but I do. And then he would have told Mississippi State, let me explain something to you. None of your student athletes are available for these interviews. Am I making myself clear?
Yeah.
And it would have been handled. Sankey, what he did, Chase, and I know we got to go to a break. What Sankey did was he recused himself because he was too damn weak to swing his bat. He recused himself and basically put himself in a position where he didn't know what the hell was going on. Greg Sankey isn't out to get Ole Miss, y'all. He's just weak. He handled this poorly. There is an anti-SEC bias in that NCAA office. The NCAA, let me tell you, let me let you guys in on a little secret. The NCAA investigators would love nothing more than to bring Alabama to its knees. Let me make that clear. For those of you that are in the conspiracy theory that think the NCAA is in the business of propping Alabama up, no. A bunch of liberals up in Indianapolis would love nothing more than to bring Alabama to its knees. It would be the biggest scalp they've ever raised. That's why they took down USC. It's why they tried to take down Ohio State.
Miami.
Penn State. Yeah, stop. They can't do it because Alabama's better at it.
It's the irony of this. They saw Ole Miss as a blue blood and a big scout for them.
And Ole Miss didn't behave like a blue blood.
Yeah.
Alan Smith texting right into Barney's office. Barney Farrar was the one that, at the whole thing, he was the one that got all the accusations started. And lo and behold, they go dig for him, and it's right there. It's like digging for oil, and you set up the drill, and you get like 2 feet in, and spurts of it. Beverly Hillbillies. Yeah. That's what happened.
Got a thought there as we come out of break in a second. First, the podcast brought to you by Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. Underwriting and processing that in Memphis are getting local underwriting. Understands your market, a leader in condo financing and the float down option. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLowe, JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
Registration for the spring soccer season and the Oxford Park Commission has started. If you played in the fall, the cost to play is $35. You can rejoin, or your kid can rejoin your his or her current team that they played for in the fall. And for those that are signing up for the first time, you get to join a new team. It's $55 to play in the spring. Leagues are open ages 4 to 15. I can't read today. For more information, visit oxfordparkcommission.com. Megan Phillips with LAH Real Estate is the person to call for all your real estate needs in the Birmingham area. With almost a decade of experience, Megan's knowledge and expertise can help you buy or sell your home today. Visit her website, meganmphillips.com, MEAGANMphillips.com, or call Megan, 205-602-7929, 205-602-7929. And the podcast brought to you by Oxford University Bank, OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB offers online bill pay, mobile check deposit using its online app. They have 1-year CDs, 3-year triple option CDs. With that 3-year term, customers can deposit once during the term, withdraw once during the term, and or bump the rate if OUB's 3-year rate rises. To learn more about OUB, check out liveoxfordbankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured. And we're brought to you by Harry Alexander. Harry is an Oxford-based RE/MAX Legacy Realty agent. He's been in the Oxford area for more than 4 decades. No one knows the residential and condo market better. Go to his site. He'll prove it to you. HarryAlexander.com. Click on the Properties and Neighborhoods tab. Filter through by what you are looking for, and then send him an email. It's ha@harryalexander.com.
Completely off topic before I ask this question. I just ran across this on the message board. MiamiDolphins.com with a huge feature story on Laramie Tunsil finally becoming an elite left tackle in year whatever. I'm stunned, really. I'm shocked that he's
It's worked out? You're telling me the big guy with the great feet worked out? Shocking.
Said when he allows his next sack, it will be the first this season. He has not allowed one to NFL defensive end so far this year. He got hurt a couple weeks ago, and Adam Gase's quote after the year was, when Tunsil went out, our offense just wasn't the same. So, yeah.
Go effing figure.
I know.
This football thing's complicated.
Yeah, I know, Jerry. He smoked some pot. Dang it. Sure, Eli's real concerned with that right now.
Oh, my God. Eli Manning looks at Laramie Tunsil and goes, how?
Well,
how?
And then you just think, well, it's just our organization. Because Eli Apple goes to New Orleans, he's like causing a turnover a week and stuff. Like, he's not playing overly well, but he's catching picks and fumbles and all sorts of stuff. And it's like, okay, well.
But you know, Eli Manning looks at Laramie Tunsil and goes, I would have probably won another Super Bowl. It would have changed his career.
All you had to do was just pull the trigger.
This is the part, and I know we got to
yeah, we got a lot to do, but
this is the part of football that
you had to write 12 letters on a piece of paper. That's it.
This is the part that you and I, you know that it frustrates me, and I'm so right. I know there's intricacies to football, and there's film, and there's all the stuff that you do, and Peyton's a genius and stuff. I get it, and I don't disacknowledge any of that. But you don't have to be very good at football or understand a great amount of football to see an elite talent.
Well, there should be 32 of us, one in each draft room, and when that thing's coming through and they go, hey, he's doing this, and you raise your hand and go, look at him. Yeah. Just write his name down.
Because what I would have said
his name down.
I would have said, had I been in the Giants' room when that gift from manna from heaven was falling down into the office,
yeah.
I would have said, hey, fellas,
this is a gift.
My hand's raised. Listen to me. Everybody else shut up. He's 6'6". He's 300 pounds, and he looks like he weighs 250. Just put the film on against 2 or 3 of the elite SEC defensive ends. Watch his feet. The kid from A&M that's going to go first next year. Put that film on. Okay, watch 4 plays. All right, we're good. All right, now write his name down. Tunsil. Just send it in. We'll talk to him about the dope. We will. No mask. We'll put a mask clause in the contract. No videos. Just we're going to give him a lot of money, and we're going to protect our quarterback, the one that won the 2 Super Bowls. He's getting a little older. We need to protect him. So let's do that today. No dope. We'll talk to him about the dope. We'll do that tomorrow morning. We'll sit down and talk dope.
Yeah.
But let's take him now. And then we'll figure the dope out later.
Yeah. Guys, we got like 8 minutes left. We got to move here.
We got to move. But let's do this, and then tomorrow we don't care whether Ole Miss paid him. Tomorrow because of course they paid him. Everyone's going to pay him. We're going to pay him. We're just going to get away from we'll talk about the mask, and when the media ask about the mask, we'll go, hey, he's a young kid. He made a stupid mistake. He's going to be awesome. He's got a great personality. Ole Miss didn't let him talk. We're going to let him talk because Hugh Freeze was scared that he was going to admit he got paid. We're going to out front tell people we paid him. So we don't have that problem. He's charismatic. We're going to get through this. But he's going to protect our quarterback because when we play the Eagles and the Redskins and the Cowboys, we need to protect number 10. He'll do it.
Instead, some dude raised his hand and goes, hey, there's this corner that...
We really like his mom.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Anyway.
Pardon my language.
You're fine. Yeah, you didn't give a warning there. I don't have a dump button, so that's the only problem.
If your kid's sitting in the car and heard that, he needed to hear it.
Think so?
Yeah, because
it was that important.
Hand-raised guy is an important person in every corporation, and it's the reason that Jerry Reese is not employed today.
I don't know the answer to this. I'm going to kind of pose this, think about it a little bit for tomorrow because Lord knows we'll need something to talk about. Is this thing any different if they just don't hire Adrian Wiggins as head coach?
Maybe.
That started this ball rolling.
It's a good question.
Yeah, it's irrelevant. I was just thinking and going, does this all come back to a cheating women's basketball coach?
It certainly got it started.
I mean, because he was dumb. I mean,
I think what started it ultimately was the tweet. The Farrar set up.
But they already had access to you in some ways.
Yeah, they were there, but
Anyway, I don't know. I'm just moving on. All right.
So I didn't give kind of my overreaching thoughts, and so I'll do it quickly.
You're fine.
I thought Matt did fine. I thought it was scripted, and that's okay. It needed to be scripted. Matt's not going to be judged on his public speaking. If you wanted to see whether Matt truly cares, you know the answer now. Yes. If you wanted to see, does he have fire? Yes.
Yeah, I'm never going to criticize someone for their stumbling of a word in a press conference or the fact that they rehearsed. You should rehearse every time. Yes. When you have a statement to make, rehearse it. That's public speaking 101.
Yeah.
Yes, fine. Now, it just shows where everything is, that there's that type of criticism over that and then that type of criticism over staring into a camera.
But I thought his message was a good one. I did. Frankly, I thought it was spot on. And you're right about Bjork. We talked about that. He probably could have said it stronger, but I know what he meant, and he meant it strongly. But he's going to have to prove it now. They have to keep going. They can't slow down. They can't assume, okay, well, we had a press conference. Problem solved. They're not there. That's not it. I thought Matt said some interesting things, which is what I'm hoping we kind of do with the last 15, 16 minutes here before we go to Austin.
Plenty of time for that.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, that's true because we're stopping the tape. We can come back. There was a lot of interesting content in what he said. The whole way he said it thing, I thought all along that he's always answered our questions. He had gotten sort of robotic because I think he was trying to protect the kids.
His biggest thing, and maybe the other was the one that was forced. I don't know the answer to that because, I mean, I've seen all of Matt Luke. I've talked to him, outside church where he's just talking. He's not yelling at me. So, I mean, I don't know what his normal speaking, whatever is. But point being, he's got to be that way from now on. He's got to be that fiery guy from now on because if you go back and forth, you look real weird.
Yeah.
And if you go back to the other, they go, well, that was just a rehearsed act one time. Okay, great. Thanks. Move on with your day.
And I don't
he's got to be that dude.
I don't think he has to be on the verge of tears.
No, I don't mean yell at us, but the the action, it's a lot like, it's probably in the best example, but it's the best one off the top of my head. Mike Bianco waves his arms everywhere when he's talking to me, but he does. I mean, that's what he does, and he gets, you ask him certain questions, and he gets animated, and he's not yelling. He never really yells, but he's just sort of flailing away with all the Italian in him. And
that's Mike.
Yeah, that's Mike. Well, if he stops doing that, I'm going to go, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
What's up? Whatever. And that's Matt's thing. He's just got to have his demeanor. Just be yourself.
It's a good example.
Be yourself, and look, you got one shot at this. Got one shot to be the Ole Miss head coach, to have your dream job, all these things. I feel like he's tried to be a lot of different people, and he's tried to do the whole, hey, I'm going to take this and this and this. At the end of the day, win or lose, succeed or fail, just doing whatever it is you do. And then that way when you're done, okay, gave it a shot, and maybe you're here 25 years and won Sugar Bowls, or maybe you don't. But either way, That's the only way this is going to work, is to be genuine, be yourself, and whatever that means, do that.
Here's the reality. He will not be the – I mean, I'm hoping I'm right here. He will not be the last Ole Miss football coach. There's going to be another one, whether that's in a year or 2 years or 10 years or 20 years. Your tenure is going to come to an end. When it does, be able to put your head on the pillow that night. Did all I could. I did the best I could. That's it. I did the best I could. And be done with it. And I kind of think that's what he's getting ready to approach, which is one of the reasons I thought I tell you where I thought he resonated yesterday was where he said some things. He said, look, we're going to be young. Because they're going to be young. He didn't say this, but I'll say this. I said it in my mailbag. If you're judging this football team next season on wins and losses and nothing else, I don't think that's a very good way to go about doing it. There's a look test, Chase. You know this. You watch baseball. You watch a lot of baseball when you watch Ole Miss and Vanderbilt or whoever else you're watching. You know when a team passes the look test. I've seen you cover an Ole Miss series where Ole Miss swept, and you walked into here on Monday morning and went, that they did not play well. They did not look right. And you've covered series where they got beat 2 out of 3, and you said they're fine. You know when a team passes the look test. It's one of the reasons everybody's so mad right now is this team did not pass the look test. There are different 5 and 7s. This was not a good 5 and 7. They didn't look right. Really, ever. After the Texas Tech game. They didn't look right again. And that's one of the reasons people are so angry.
Best performance was the first one.
That won't work. If next season, at the end of the year, you're saying, you know what, they didn't win as many as I thought they'd win or maybe as I hoped they'd win, but they looked better. They got better. They were getting better. They were sharper. They scared the hell out of fill in the blank, and they did whatever, and that's different than it was more of the same. Someone has asked me, no idea why Siri is transcribing me.
So you can transcribe these podcasts. See, look at you. You put them up every single day.
No, sir. I'm not doing that job.
Here's 180,000 words from this morning.
No, I'll pass. There, you just know. And he's got to. They got to pass the look test next year. They have to pass. They have to pass it. They have to look different on the field. They have to look more efficient. They have to look more prepared. Not so inept on the defensive side.
I'm a broken record. It all comes down to capital here. Matt, his words were better. One of his better performances overall. He said a lot of things that are very, very true, including some things that he just did not feel like he can answer right now because they're a couple weeks away from more decisions. That is what it is. I'm not going to hold that against him at all because anybody that's not just looking at it to find a problem knows what he means and what's coming and whatever. So you got to let that go a little bit when you have some context.
Yeah.
He opened himself up for criticism with some of the Duke and Tennessee stuff. I think that's fair.
Yeah, sure.
Those teams did not win at high levels, even after the rebuilds. Because we talked about yesterday, the curves changed. Curves changed here.
Yeah.
Right, wrong, and different. It's changed. You've been to the Sugar Bowl. You've been to the Peach Bowl. Those are back-to-back years. Ole Miss was in the top 4 of the first ever college football playoff ranking that came out.
Yeah.
So things have changed. That opened up for. I understood what he meant. I understand why that sounded really good and why that did come across fine. But I also understand why that leads to a lot of negative interpretation. There's no doubt about that. Again, hard question maybe right now. There was not a good answer to your Memphis question yesterday.
No.
And Memphis is a very personal thing to a lot of people.
In fact, it was an odd answer.
Yeah, it was an odd answer. We talked about Tyler Siskey. Just did. I'm not being not being rude. That was the answer.
I think Matt would probably admit that was a non-answer.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, some of that is context bearing. You need the context to understand that.
Yeah. The Longo answers were surprising.
They were confusing, is what they were. I was frankly a little confused when I got done because I said you could read that as, hey, if Phil Longo doesn't get a job, he's coordinating some offense in Oxford next year. And you could have read that and going, well, he's just trying to get him out of here before he's moved on either way. You know what I mean? You could have kind of taken that however you want to take that.
For those that missed it, here's a recap on that quickly. Chuck Rounsville asked Matt about the rumors that Phil Longo's trying to get a head coaching job. And Matt gave the answer that the coach always gives about when you have success, people are interested, blah, blah, blah.
There's been no results yet, but we know he's at least looking into some opportunities.
And I was going to ask something different. It was my turn to ask, but I followed up on Chuck's question, and I said, so if he doesn't get one of those jobs?
You kind of made me chuckle because it was sort of, hey, can we just cut the crap for a second? Like, are you keeping him or not? Yeah. Like, I don't know. Let's stop talking about Texas State for a minute.
Yeah, I thought Chuck's question was a good one.
Yeah, it was fine.
And I followed up on Chuck's question and said, okay, following up on what he just asked, if he doesn't get one of those jobs, because I'm not sure he's getting one, if he doesn't get one of those jobs, what are you doing? And that's where the answer was kind of ambiguous, and it was intentionally ambiguous. And I don't know I don't think he's back as the offensive coordinator. I really don't.
I don't either. But
fans heard that answer and went, holy shit.
And then the other one that looked really good on paper, and I'm admitting that. I don't mean that facetiously at all. But when it comes out, because people are already mad, I know what a really good red zone offense looks like. I'm going to fix it, whatever. Yeah. It lended it's so easy for the hanging curveball of, well, it's been 24 games. Yeah. Why didn't you fix it? You know what I mean? This is all about capital. There's nothing yesterday that, unless it was, hey, I'm firing this guy and this guy and this guy, and then I'm bringing in this dude and this dude and this dude and this dude, they're going to have to kind of live with this right now. Yes. That's really where we are here.
Yes.
Is they're just going to have to live with the bad capital right now. Yeah. I mean, they're going to have to move on from it, go to bed at night, wake up and go, hey, let's try every day to fix it a little.
Well, when you file bankruptcy, you come back and you rebuild your credit
and then
time.
We got to hit it out of the park to get capital back later. It is going to be up to recruiting, successes, and hires. Who do they go get? Who do they fire? Yeah. And what do they do? Look, here's the deal. Talking is doing no good, period, right now. This is about tangible results for Ole Miss.
Actions.
Tangible improvement, actions, a little pissed offness, everything. This is about, hey,
it's why
we kind of don't think you had a spine for 5 years, the fans talking.
Right.
Why don't you show one now? A little fortitude would be good.
It's why they can't promote John Summerall to defensive coordinator.
No, it's why anyone with an Ole Miss connection at least comes in with a negative connotation right now on them.
But if you promote Summerall, and I think Summerall's a really good coach, but if you promote Summerall, a defensive coordinator, someone's going to say, and it's a legitimate question, minute one, if you're going to promote him, why didn't you do something in week 2 when you gave up 38 to Southern Illinois in the first half?
If you had your coordinator.
If you already had a better defensive coordinator who could fix all of this, he was in the building. To which I'm sure the answer is, oh, come on, I'm banging my head against the wall here. You know the answer. But the emotional fan, and it's a legitimate question, has that question.
The emotional fan is one of the best common sense people in the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they can get crazy, too.
Because he's ready to boil this stuff down.
Yeah, it's like, well, okay, no, but I don't really care what the repercussion was. He was sitting right there.
He was in the building. I mean, like, literally.
It's like, so hang on. You knew Longo's red zone offense sucked?
And you didn't do anything to fix it? Yeah. I mean, and you just... And yet at the same time, and at the same time, I understand why Matt Luke says, I know how to fix it. Because what he's saying is, it's not going to be this offense.
Yes. I know how to fix it because we're not going to do that crap.
But Longo's involved on some of my recruits right now. And
including, I need another quarterback.
And I need to finish the recruiting cycle here. And today is November the 20 whatever, and the signing day is
it almost would have been a great content item to take Matt's quotes and then under it go, the cut the crap answer that he was trying to say here. Yeah. And on that, I think he was trying to say, I'm not going to run a bunch of freaking isolation routes in the red zone.
No.
I think that's what he was trying to say is, I don't like that stupid offense.
I absolutely believe that what Matt Luke was saying to you was, yeah, I know how to fix it. I mean, I know step one is that we throw that in the trash can. That's step one. But he can't do that. I mean, you can't. People say, well, why didn't he say that? Well, because he can't say that.
Yeah, he can't do that.
He's got to nuance this.
And that's my point is, for a month or so, just it is what it is.
3 weeks.
Yeah, it is what it is. Just
today's Wednesday. It's 3 weeks from today.
Yeah, I'm using this as an example, guys. My God, I'm not reporting anything. Chase Farm reports. Hey. it's not like he could quote South Carolina's red zone efficiency to you yesterday. You know what I mean?
Just pull that out of the blue. Are you reporting Dan Werner?
Maybe I'm reporting Brian McClendon. How about that, big boy?
Could be. That would not go over well.
You don't think so?
Probably not.
You don't think Brian McClendon would go over well?
I don't know.
You don't think so? He didn't play at Ole Miss, did he?
No.
Okay.
Where did he play? Georgia?
I don't know.
Yeah.
He was a pretty good recruiter for a while at some places.
Yeah. Hell, I don't know, man.
You don't know?
I don't know what works.
Yeah. We'll continue this in a minute. Before we do that, visit oxfordms.com/events. See a full calendar of events to just perk up a little bit. Go out in town, have a beer, have a glass of wine on a balcony. You can actually get into a restaurant for a few weeks. We could. I could have put something in my coffee, some Hoodoo Chickler liqueur or something.
That's actually a good thought.
Visit oxfordms.com. See the different events going around. Again, go hang out. Take a trip. Football's over, but doesn't mean you can't come to town, relax. Your wife doesn't have to worry about the Grove or the Circle or any of that. You can take her to dinner, maybe a bed and breakfast. Have a good weekend there. Visit oxfordms.com/events.
Take her to a bed and breakfast, huh?
I'm making conversation.
It's a good idea.
Okay. You got a problem with that?
No.
Is that bad?
No. I like bed and breakfast.
Okay.
Not a big breakfast person, but anyway. You don't have to have, you can have some coffee. Right?
Anytime now. Go ahead. It's not like we're on a clock or anything.
You're testy today.
Well, I look at Neil at like the 19-minute mark, and I'm like, hey, really got to get to a break here. We're at 26 and a half. He's still just yapping. I'm going, okay, man, fine, whatever.
It's the Potato Log podcast that could. There are no rules. My mailbag is up on the site. The site's rebelgrove.com. It's part of the rivals.com network. As Chase reminded you earlier in the show, you can subscribe to Rebel Grove right now and get $99 in team gear. You don't have to buy Ole Miss. If you're too mad to get Ole Miss team gear, you can get Saints team gear. You can get Colts team gear. Get a Laramie Tunsil Miami Dolphins jersey. You can do that. About $99.
You could actually get a custom Giants jersey with Tunsil and his number on the back.
That would do that, wear it, and send a picture of it to Jeffrey.
We will give you some free crap.
I'll give you free crap. Now, don't kill Jeffrey because things are going well, but it will get his heart rate up a little bit. That's a hell of a gag gift.
Oh, God, a Tunsil Giants jersey for Jeffrey's Christmas would be fantastic.
I think he would spontaneously combust. I don't think we'd have a friend anymore. All right, the podcast is brought to you by the Westin Jackson. Restore serenity to your soul. Visit Soul Spa. It's the ultimate luxury spa experience in downtown Jackson. Indulge in personalized massages. We'll find it. Signature facials, soothing body treatments, and much more on their extensive spa list. Escape from the everyday. Rejuvenate yourself in their luxury spa today. You can also gather at Estelle Wine Bar and Bistro, sip on a creative craft cocktail, or enjoy their curated wine list. It's open for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch. Chef Caden's mission is to connect guests with the community through local partnerships, so gather at Estelle tonight. And this podcast is brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, look no further than Grenada Nissan. They have a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. Great lease deals as well. Go in, test drive one today, talk to Gene and Sandy. They're fantastic people. They employ fantastic people. Their service department's wonderful. I've done business with Grenada Nissan for 11 years now. They're just wonderful people. You'll love your experience there. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com.
All right, last segment before we go to Austin here before too terribly long. I am seeing on Football Scoop this morning that Phil Longo has spoken with Texas State regarding its head coaching search. They say they have spoken with Sterling Gilbert, who is now the South Florida offensive coordinator. I think he was at Texas for a little while.
He was. And watch.
That was really loud.
Watch Jake Spavital there.
And pick say he's the favorite is Spavital, who's now the West Virginia offensive coordinator. It looks like. So that's where it is. Also, they were potentially going after Kendall Briles. However, it looks like as of the moment, he's probably staying in Houston. So that's Art Briles' son. So little news there. All right. Kind of final thoughts, Ross, Matt, the whole deal. What do you got?
It was a start. They had to do something, and they did. They have to keep going now. You said it. You're on the road now. You got to keep going. You got to keep punching. You're behind. You're late. All of those things. You got to rebuild capital. It's going to take time. You didn't lose it overnight. You won't get it back overnight. Really, to me, it's that simple.
It is. Ross's problem is going to be proving anything from that meeting. Anything coming out of it where it looks like you followed through. It's just hard to do. It's not against
done.
Ross or anything else. It's just in private, and it's this, and it's whatever. I don't know how you curry favor out of it.
Maybe you come out of that meeting and you come out and you say, "Here's exactly what I said."
Right.
I told them this. I told them this. I told them this. They want this to be a private meeting, but I'm gonna be honest with you, it doesn't need to be private. Maybe that's what you say. I think you have to. I've said this yesterday, so I'll say it again. I think at this point, transparency is the only thing that works. You're trying to get people to not cancel season tickets. You're trying to get people to continue to come to your games, to support your program. You're trying to get people to believe in you. That's hard. People are cynical, skeptical.
A lot of fans thought Matt was lecturing at them yesterday. Even, I mean, it's just.
Yeah, and I never saw that.
It's just getting the whole point of it's just hard right now.
Yeah, it's hard. It's why people like Jay Tate so much. Jay's real. He's always real. He writes real. He talks real. People like that. I think it's more and more that's the way to be. Be yourself, whoever you are. It's like, we said this about Matt. The same holds true for Ross. I think it's important they just let people get to know them. Let them know that you're pissed. I did think Ross came across as kind of angry yesterday, and he should be.
Yeah.
I mean, the commissioner put him, and I asked him this, the commissioner put you in a really difficult spot from a PR standpoint.
He didn't deny it.
He didn't deny it.
No, he did. Sankey should never have sent anything public, period.
No, it was stupid.
Because he's got to get the juice out of it. That's the whole deal with him. It's all public stuff. It's crap. It's.
And then on the other side, I understand completely why Ole Miss fan John Smith says, "Well, damn it, tell me why you're mad. I just want to hear it because I know why I'm mad." That's what they're thinking.
Yeah, join us.
Yeah, be with me for a minute. And he is, and Ross just has to say it now. I mean, and he did say it. But he didn't say it. And I get it.
Yeah, it's.
But he did say it. And he has fought. And you guys, being Ole Miss, you did get screwed. And yet you were guilty. It's so complicated. But you did get screwed. The Leo Lewis stuff should never have happened. And that's on the league. It's on the NCAA. It's on Mississippi State. Thought one of the things that Ross said that was interesting, it was subtle, but I got it, was, just getting the ADs together, even getting the football coaches together, even getting Moorhead and Matt in that room and just hashing it out. It doesn't change anything if he doesn't change at the administrative level.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Keenum's done a good job, but Keenum's obsessed with Ole Miss and publicly obsessed with Ole Miss. You need Keenum to say, hey, everybody, let's cool it. We look like idiots here. And I don't know that Mark Keenum's going to do that. It's their MO.
That's the deal with Keenum. Can't ever fault him for not doing whatever makes him one of his constituents. That's job one for a lot of administration people. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but at the end of the day, they paid some salaries and they do this. I'm not defending.
I know.
But just point being, here's my point with this, actually, that I did not articulate very well with that.
Okay.
That's what's frustrating Ole Miss people right now, because they look at the other side of it where Keenum feels completely one of the state people and he's pushing all their interest, frankly, over the top and in a very unprofessional way.
Yes.
But along that way, and they see Ross, and Ross can't come out and go, hey, it's state's freaking fault. And that's where they see this disconnect from a supporter standpoint. Again, just not right, wrong, don't know, but that's what's funneling this.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'll be honest, and I've said this, Laura and I have debated, amongst ourselves with Campbell, should we make her go visit state, whatever, because they've done a really good job recruiting her. I watched that video of Keenum after the Egg Bowl, And if you guys are listening in the Golden Triangle, you need to hear this because I know you don't think you care, but I immediately it gave me closure on that. I went, oh, I'm glad she's not going there. And it has nothing to do with Ole Miss. It's the way that looks.
Oh, no, look, they're insane.
Because I'm gonna tell you what it looked like. I'm gonna tell you what it looked like if y'all are listening out there. It looked like the Deep South Baptist preacher just one step short of breaking out the serpent. That's what it looked like to me, and that's what it came across as, and I thought, I don't want that for my kid. I'll be honest, we're better than that. I'm better than that. I don't want that. I'm more sophisticated than that. I'm not that simple. Don't talk down to me.
There's
like
a bigger picture here.
Yeah, I'm being honest. Y'all want honesty? There's honesty. It was the first day that little nagging, am I not letting my daughter go look at a school because of my commercial interest? Is that right or wrong? And now I went, no, I didn't. I'm being a good dad.
Yeah.
And I get why you want Ross to fight. And I don't know why Ross can't say, yeah, the reason this happened is because the NCAA. The NCAA has pushed this thing over the edge. It's amazing to me how many Mississippi State people have defended that fight. How many people have looked at that fight,
almost.
Looked at that fight and goes, well, it's just football rivalries. Yeah, because you see that at the Iron Bowl all the time. Because I watch lots of football games. I watched the Apple Cup. They didn't have a brawl. I watched Bedlam. They didn't have a brawl. I watched Texas, Oklahoma. They hate each other. They hate each other. They didn't brawl.
They might have a fight Saturday.
They
might have one Saturday.
But it won't be like that. Ole Miss and State, it's just constant. And I'll blame Ole Miss. DK Metcalf did the thing, and Ole Miss planted a flag. And you had to know after you tweaked them all year they were going to plant the flag.
Because it's so important to them.
And your quarterback's out there yelling and screaming at the middle of the field instead of getting his ass off the field. Being honest, I mean, there was a lot there. There's a lot of blame. But how you can look at that as a Mississippi State fan and go, yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I'm going to tell you, if you don't have a problem with that, you're weird. Something's wrong with you.
No,
my wife's not a football fan.
Mm-hmm.
She's not. She doesn't watch football. She had that game on that night, and when that happened, she texted me almost immediately. Laura went to Ole Miss. She's from Alabama. She sent me a text and said, that's awful. That's awful. That's what a lot of people said. This is awful.
And there were several around the country over the course of the weekend.
Yeah, there were. NC and NC State had one.
That was one of the stranger ones because I didn't even think they were really that whatever.
But, it doesn't –
And Matt made a good point. Let's look how this thing happened, not necessarily say, oh, it's this whatever. It's, hey, yeah, generalities are great, and they're true in a lot of ways, but, okay, how did this particular thing happen?
And that particular one happened because number 38 was an ass.
Yeah.
And then A.J. fought back, and then somebody else fought back, and then Corral fought back. And once you get to about 4 –
here we go.
You can pretty much expect the Royal Rumble at that point.
Yeah.
If it's 1-on-1 or 2-on-1 and the referees can get to it quickly.
It's probably going to be
But because it happened 50 yards down the field from the bulk of the referees, by the time everybody got down there.
They're already tied up.
Yeah.
Close to a sideline.
It was ready to roll. Yeah. And that thing could have gotten really bad because it was right in front of the stands and people were throwing things and it could have, and Matt Corral's helmet came off. You said this.
Credit to Braxton Hoyt for grabbing Matt right there.
The kid at Mississippi State who kind of got Corral out of there before it got ugly and before he got hurt.
Yeah.
With a swinging helmet or something. Because I don't care how tough you are. If you're not wearing a helmet and the other cat's slinging a helmet at you and it hits you, you're going down. Those helmets are heavy.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but big picture, the rivalry is nasty because the NCAA and Mississippi State made it so nasty.
Yeah, I thought both guys hit some good points yesterday. I mean, in complete close here, I thought both could have hit one thing differently. I think Matt could have gone a step farther on exactly what that plan is. There's a lot of, we've got to fix this and we got to have a plan, and this is hard. This is not an easy thing, but I think this is what fans wanted is, okay, what? It was still platitudinal in some ways yesterday. It still wasn't, well, what are you doing? Okay,
yeah.
You got to do something, but what is that? Tell us what we're doing. So I think there was a lot of that. And then Ross, one step past his comfort zone on calling out the other side. He's still very careful about publicly saying anything, even if it wasn't to the point the fans absolutely want it in their chest, another step would have gone a long way to
There's time.
Yeah, there is. But
There's time.
we're talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
I said there's all the time in the world, because to contradict what I just said, words aren't mattering. Actions are mattering moving forward. That's it.
Yeah.
Who you firing, who you hiring, what
Yeah.
recruits you signing. Ross, what are you going to say after the meeting? What happens? What's Cohen say? What'd you say? What'd Sankey say? Did you take the belt in? I'm kidding. I mean, the whole deal. So that's what this thing's about. But
Should Ross take the belt in?
he should not take the belt in.
No belt?
No belt.
Should he wear one of the T-shirts, the Tuck F?
Oh, I'd definitely wear one of those if I had it. The MSU batting practice jerseys that had.
In all seriousness, I would.
I might take one of those. Might even just take one of those in and just throw it on the table and go, come on, guys.
We don't do this.
Let's cut the crap.
Yeah.
And let's really talk. Let's not do this corporate Greg Sankey talk. Because, Greg's going to be like, well, the spirit of competition.
F that.
That's not where we are.
You walk in and you go, so let me tell you first what the things we've done wrong. Because we did this wrong, and we probably shouldn't have done the scoreboard thing. And we probably shouldn't have tweeted all the stuff that we did. We're not innocent here. And we kept Hugh Freeze too long, and we kept Barney Farrar too long, and all that. But, guys, we didn't get Leo Lewis. Number one, Leo Lewis signed with you guys. And got a source that Leo got paid. His name rhymes with B.O. Buis. Don't want to give sources away, but there's a lot of things here. But here's this shirt. We don't have that shirt. We didn't order that stuff. We were Nike. You guys are Adidas. And I get that they're kind of out there. But you had to ask for that. Because we have Nike, and they never send us anything like that. And, I mean, I don't know how that works. We don't do that. So forgive me for being a little offended here. You didn't exactly follow protocol on this NCAA thing. And, again, Leo Lewis didn't sign with us.
Yeah.
Neither did Kobe Jones.
I'm sure.
So if everything that we're convicted of is true, what's y'all do? We bought him some diapers. Y'all gave him a 10 spot.
We're going to go to Austin in 1 second after the break. He has some connection issues. It does not mess up the interview as far as what you'll hear. We had one actual disconnect. You'll come back into it. You won't even notice that there at all, and just hang through a couple little pauses, as it is not going to impact that. So we have some Chancellor talk at the beginning after one Senate question, then Chancellor talk if you're curious about Chancellor stuff, and then if you're so inclined, we go back into Mississippi politics.
And he predicts the 2020 Democratic nominee for president.
Does that as well. Yeah. So that's coming up with Austin Barbour in 1 minute. Before we do that, I'll tell you that the podcast is brought to you in part by Mastercuts Lawn and Landscape. They provide everything but lighting and garland to inflatable characters this holiday season. Whatever your vision may be, Mastercuts will work with you to design a custom display unique to your home. And the best part, all the decorations you pay for, you'll own them. They'll keep and store the decorations so they're ready to go up next year, or give them to you to keep. The option is yours. So set this up with Mastercuts today. You can get a free quote, 662-607-7773.
Podcast also brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. Whether you're thinking about that golf trip, maybe that anniversary trip, you're going to Napa or St. Andrews, Florida, the Caribbean, Scotland, Ireland, whatever it may be, you need to get in touch with John. He's part of Virtuoso. He's a worldwide network of travel partners that allows John to supply his clients with added values, unique benefits that are simply not available to other travelers. You know how this works by now, right? You call John, you tell him what you're looking to do. Hey, I got 6 days. I want to go to Napa. I want it to be special. I got 6 days. I'm going to Disney. I want it to be special. I'm going to New York. I'm going to Paris, wherever it may be. Istanbul, Des Moines, wherever it may be. You want it to be great. John knows everything that you could know. He's a 37-year travel veteran. He can find you unique memories, extra attention, things that you're not going to find on the internet. He'll find it. 901-494-3387. J. Edwards at regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. Also brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. Pinnacle Trust is based in Madison, Mississippi, represents clients in 24 states, has advisors in 3. Pinnacle Trust, provides detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much more. They treat investing like a commodity. Decisions are made using objective information and research and not emotions. And regardless of your level of wealth, this is important, regardless of your level of wealth, Pinnacle Trust will sit down with you, listen to your goals, study your expenses, and put forth a comprehensive, detailed financial and retirement plan. That's not what cookie-cutter financial planners do. It's what Pinnacle Trust does. I've seen it. I've seen them do it for a family that was bringing in $800,000 a year. I've seen them doing it for a family that bringing in $60,000 a year. They can get your goals, get your dreams, get your specific retirement plans, study your expenses, and put forth a comprehensive retirement plan that's going to give you peace. Pintrust.com, P-I-N-N, trust.com. Mention you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the podcast. You'll get 10% off your first year's fee. We're also brought to you by Dead Sexy. That's Dead Soxy. Not Dead Sexy.
Dead Soxy is Dead Sexy, right?
It is one and the same. But you need to go to deadsoxy.com. I don't know what happens if you go to deadsexy.com.
Turn the car off, no kid. Come on. Yeah, that's...
I'm sure that we'll find out on the message board later today. Someone will tell us. Go to deadsoxy.com, DEADSOXY. They have a limited quantity of their limited edition Rebel colored socks. They have 100 of each style available. So if you've been on the fence, it's a great place to start with the brand. They have an introductory price point, only $20 before the Rebel Grove discount. So after that discount, it's just $15 a pair, and this is the exact sock they make for their custom clients. So if you're interested in the custom socks, try a pair of the Rebel socks to experience the difference a quality sock makes. Powder blue colored socks can be a challenge to find, but Dead Soxy has all the styles and colors to appease any Ole Miss fan. They make a perfect gift for the holidays. Your stocking stuffer solution has arrived. Go to deadsoxy.com/rebels or find them on the bottom of the page. Under the styles heading, you get the 25% discount by entering Rebel Grove at checkout. And we're brought to you by Patterson and Earhart, attorneys at law. Austin Barbour will join us in just a moment on the Patterson and Earhart hotline. Patterson and Earhart specializes in personal injury law and real estate law, but theirs is a general practice that can handle any of your legal needs. When you contact Patterson and Earhart, you speak to one of the partners in the firm, and that's who will handle your case, not some paralegal at a faceless corporate firm. If Patterson and Earhart can't help you, they'll refer you to someone who can. John Calvin Patterson and Wes Earhart are Ole Miss guys. They're local guys, and when you call them, you're going to get one of them on the phone within the same day, guaranteed. So whether you've been injured in a car wreck or you have other legal issues, give them a call, 662-526-1992, or check out their website, pelaws.com. Your initial consultation is free.
So now we will go to Austin Barbour on that hotline. And, anyway, here's Austin as we continue the podcast.
Austin Barbour joins us now on the Patterson and Earhart hotline.
Who knew?
Austin, welcome into the podcast. Thank you for spending some time. I know that yesterday was a busy day. Did the Senate, we'll start here, did the Senate election go the way that you anticipated that it would go? And if so or if not, how was it sort of different than maybe what you anticipated?
No, hey, guys, thanks for having me on. It's always great to Neal, to join you and Chase. And maybe we'll talk Ole Miss football, too. I doubt it, but maybe. I can always hope. Listen, it did. I actually told a lot of folks earlier today that I thought it would be 54-46, and that looks like that's where it's going to hit, is 54-46. I know most Mississippians are probably glad the Senate race is over. It was not one that most enjoyed, and certainly all the television commercials. And, of course, now the commercials are following us to our phones, to our computers, to our eyes, to the text that probably a lot of people got from the President of the United States. You know, it was probably him, Jackson. You're glad that that's all over. You can sort of get back to normalcy and start to focus on Christmas shopping and so forth. So, but it did. It ended up where I thought it would, which was a closer than expected race, but she wins by 8 or 10 points, and she's going to win by just around 8.
I love how, Austin, you don't realize this. Neal has not really been listening to me for most of the podcast. Right before I hit the record button, I said, hey, let's start with the chancellor thing in a second. And then he'll go, so tell me about the Senate race as we kick in here. He's not paying attention whatsoever to me today. So I'm going to take over, and then I'm going to come back to that in a second. Mainly because I know more people are probably interested in the chancellor situation than the Senate race at this point. But I want to go full on politics as well. But kind of curious here. You know, a lot of people. You got some idea here of where this thing at least is headed from a timeline standpoint. How long do you think it'll be before at least news kind of picks up on a chancellor search a little bit, where it gets back in the public thought, and then? What are we looking at timeline-wise before someone's actually named or we're deep in the process where we know what's going on?
All good questions. Look, I think that it's going to be quiet for the month of December, most like everything is during the month of December, because you're just focused on, family stuff and getting ready for Christmas, and then you got New Year's, and a lot of people just don't work as hard during the month of December. I know you guys do, I'm sure. But a lot of people don't. So I think, first of the year, the legislature's back in town. You got a new legislative session, and, of course, legislators are always interested in university politics, and there'll be a lot of chatter about that. So I think it'll pick up more steam probably in January. I know IHL's got a board meeting in December, but I don't think a lot will be done with that. I don't know that. That's my assumption. But I think as we get into January, there'll be more talk about this. There'll be more stories. There'll be more columns. There'll be more editorials. And certainly there'll be more a lot of sort of Jackson-centric chatter at the state capitol that, of course, will emanate around the state.
You're just one voice like any of us, but you're somebody who's pretty rational about all this. What do you think Ole Miss needs in a chancellor position?
I'm very grateful that you called me rational. Thank you. So a lot of people, my wife included, may not. But no, I do try to be rational. I tell you, if you haven't read Bill Crawford's column, Bill Crawford is a man in Meridian, Mississippi, who's done a lot of things in government, politics, and business, and I don't agree with everything he says. I think he's conservative, but he's pretty reasonable. It was November the 8th, where I thought he really laid out sort of what does Ole Miss need in a pretty rational way. I agree with much of what he says. And if it's okay, let me make a few of his points, because I agree with him, if that's all right, Chase.
Yeah, go ahead.
So listen, what I think Ole Miss needs is obviously someone who can. We need to have the alumni base, our students, and really just kind of the Ole Miss community in and around Mississippi. There are a lot of people who may not have ever stepped on campus at Ole Miss, but deem themselves as big a Ole Miss supporter as all of us who have degrees from there. That's great, but we need someone to rally those folks. We haven't had that in a long time, and we desperately need that person. And I thought Bill was sort of he used two individuals as examples, and one was Robert Kayat, and then one is Mark Keenum, who of course is Mississippi State's president. And when you look at sort of Kayat and you look at Keenum, I mean, they're both non-traditional type candidates, but I mean, they're not ones who came as, university presidents from some other college. Of course, I may be wrong about, and correct me if I am, but Dr. Kayat's tenure before he was chancellor, was he head of Ole Miss Law School?
I don't know. I'll look that up while you're talking.
I think he was. I think he was, but he certainly was a major professor at the University Law School. But still, they were sort of non-traditional candidates, and I'll speak for myself and myself only. We should not be scared to go look at someone who's non-traditional. Listen, if the perfect candidate came to us, who was a university president from wherever, I'm all for it. But we can't just say, oh, well, that person's never been a university president, so we just can't look at them. And I think that'd be a grave mistake. And I think if you look around and you look specifically at, two folks from Mississippi, Kayat and Keenum, who were very successful. Look, as much as we get frustrated by Mississippi State, they got a lot of success going on over there. But if you look at some of the things that those two individuals did. I mean, they raised the bar for educational standards. When I graduated from Ole Miss in the late 90s, the education that a child gets, a student gets at Ole Miss now is better than it was then, and that's because of things that Robert Kayat did and laid in place. Obviously, Keenum and Kayat, I'm just going to use them, right now for the lack of better examples because I think they're both important and they're both two people that we can relate to because we know them. Fantastic fundraisers. Okay, and it wasn't just raising money for sports; they were raising money for academics. They were great recruiters. I mean, look, we've heard you guys talk about recruiting. I know tons of people who are very frustrated with the lack of in-state recruiting by Ole Miss. And that's got to change. We have a tremendous – you hear politicians talk about this, and I really believe it. We have a tremendous brain drain in Mississippi right now. And a lot of that is because we don't have as many big Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies that are here. But hell, man, if we're losing our kids to Arkansas or Auburn or Alabama or Texas, it's hard to get them back here. It's really a difficult process. So we've got to improve the recruiting that we do for our in-state kids, and I thought that with Mississippi State does a good job with that, and I know when Robert Kayat was chancellor, Ole Miss did a good job and focused on that, and not just with our students, but a faculty. And then just a couple of the quick things. Look, they understood politics. They were very, very good at politics. They were good at sort of the Washington, D.C., Jackson Capitol, being able to navigate the political circles there. But they were also sort of good with being able to politically support and help and work through issues between your own factions. I mean, they could work and appease and work through issues that were difficult with their faculty, and at the same time, they'll pick up and talk to their most conservative alumni who may be a big donor, and make sure that they get their issue worked out with them too. And those are some traits that I think are really important, and I don't think we've had that in a chancellor since Robert Kayat was there. And so that's kind of my take. And I think if you look at Bill Crawford's column, I think it's worth reading for those who have it.
I'm not going to ask you to. Yeah, I'm not going to ask you to endorse anyone or even publicly name anyone, but you mentioned non-traditional candidates. Do you, at least in your head, have someone who may emerge as a candidate that would be someone that you're kind of referencing with some of these traits? Just in general?
Oh, I mean, and listen, I say that. No, and that's a fair question. I say that about non-traditional candidates. I don't have anyone specific. I hear tons of names, like you guys hear tons of names, and people that are listening to this podcast that talk to their friends or other people. I hear tons of names, and I'm sure there will be a number of both non-traditional and traditional candidates that will come out during this process who will be good choices. And I'm just trying to make sort of this overarching point that, man, we can't mess this up, okay? And obviously it's the IHL who's going to make this decision, and I think there's some good. I know there's some good Ole Miss people that are on the IHL board. There's some good people that are on the IHL board, period, that I know understand how important this decision is, and that, quite frankly, we can't get it wrong. We just can't. And so with that, you can't just sort of say, I'm going to cut off this whole segment of the population that may do a great job as chancellor, and I don't want them to. We're not even going to interview them. We're not even going to consider, quote, non-traditional. And I think that would be a major mistake, and I just hope that doesn't happen.
You mentioned the IHL, and I've been a pretty big critic of it for a while. I believe that at some point it's an antiquated system that's going to be replaced at some point. Probably not anytime in the near future. Ole Miss, frankly, does not have the political capital to even make that push right now from a state standpoint. But what is a positive? Do you have any positive or two that is the IHL for Ole Miss at this point? Because I hear a lot about, Ole Miss propping up some other schools to the IHL and the way the government funding is distributed and some of those things. And frankly, it seems like Ole Miss doesn't necessarily get a fair shake in all that, given how their economics are based outside of the government funding.
You're not going to get me to try to be the advocate for the IHL, are you?
No, I'm just curious if you have any positive at all. You know more about it than I do, so I'm just kind of curious if I'm missing something.
Look, I think Yeah, Chase, I think the history of this is that the IHL was formed as an idea and rationale to try to consolidate cost, consolidate I think there was this worry of, well, if I forget, what do we have, 7, 8, 9, state public institutions? I don't remember the exact number. But if everybody had their own board, because look, if we said, hey man, Ole Miss is going to get their own board, and Mississippi State is going to get their own board, well then how are you going to go tell Delta State or Jackson State that they can't go do their own thing? And certainly Southern Miss and the W and so on and so forth. It was always this concern of, well, then you're going to have a lot of different voices that are constantly coming to the legislature and saying, I need this, I need that, versus one group that's coming for all of them. And then maybe a little more finite point is there was this concern that you were going to have sort of no consistency with and no synergy with okay, well, Ole Miss has okay, Mississippi State focuses on this. I mean, what would if we didn't have an IHL? What would stop Southern Miss or Delta State from starting a law school? Now, I'm a free market guy. Okay, first and foremost. So I say that and I immediately kind of get tingles like, wait a minute, that's not right. The market will set that. But that was sort of, from what I've been told, the way it's been explained to me, is sort of why the IHL was set up. And there are others who, could speak to it much more eloquently than I can, but it was sort of that kind of general basis. And no, the IHL is not popular with Ole Miss folks. It's not popular in Jackson. But it's the law. It's how it's set up, and it's sort of the entity that we've got to work with and deal with as we go through this. As Ole Miss goes through this chancellor search.
Yeah, because it's one of those deals where a lot of that is just I get done and I hear it and I go, well, that's not really Ole Miss's problem. You know what I mean? And I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to get stuck on the IHL, but that's
but you're right.
So we started this with the one question about the Senate race last night, the runoff between Mike Espy and Cindy Hyde-Smith, a race that frustrated people from both sides of the aisle pretty much just because of kind of the candidates themselves. This is not a Republican or Democrat thing, but there was baggage kind of everywhere. As someone who looks at the Mississippi politics landscape overall, how do we kind of get here where those are the candidates and we were stuck in this situation of having to kind of defend our overall state process throughout this thing?
Well, the governor appointed Cindy Hyde-Smith. And listen, she made some mistakes. There's no question about that. I will say a lot of it was overblown by the national media, which happens. Look, man, there's no question that I personally wish that she would have come out the next day and explained what she meant and said what she said in this debate, which was, I apologize. If I offended anyone, I'm really sorry about that. Instead of waiting however many days it was, 4, 5, 6 days until she did that. I think if she would have done that, we wouldn't have had to have gone through a lot of what we did. And it was her first time to run a big campaign like that, run a real statewide, heavily focused campaign. So, you're going to make mistakes. I mean, look, politicians are human beings. They don't make mistakes, but it's just how you react after you make that mistake is how most people will judge you. And that was clearly a mistake on her part to wait that long, and which made this race a lot closer than it should have been. I mean, she probably should have won this race more, but even in a tough environment, she still won by 8 points. And of course, with Mike Espy, he wasn't the best candidate. There's no question about that, but he was very well liked, ran a good campaign. It had a lot of statewide name ID, had a ton of money that was behind him, and certainly had a big resume of some things that he's done in the past. And look, he did a good job of energizing his vote. When you go and you compare the results of the people who turned out yesterday to 3 weeks before, he got 101.7
wow.
of his total percentage of turnout back out again. That's really difficult to do. And Hyde-Smith ended up getting 87% of the Republicans who turned out November the 6th to turn back out again, obviously on November the 27th.
Yeah, I mean, it was just sort of my theory or whatever that, and this isn't anything about against Mike Espy whatsoever, but just the Republican landscape in Mississippi. Someone who just said a bunch of boring things, never said anything negative, and just kind of went on about their business the entire time as being the most boring candidate in Senate race history would have gotten over 60% because you just don't give any ammunition to the other side. You ride the Republicans in the state and you win this thing easily. It was just almost like she kind of hurt herself more than doing anything positive, strictly in my dumb opinion most of the time. But that's kind of the way I felt was, if anything, she made this much more complicated than it had to be.
Well, there's no question. And when you make mistakes on the campaign trail, which she did, and she obviously would admit that, you make your race a lot harder. And certainly that's what ended up happening. And, listen, you have to look at the President of the United States and the governor to give them a lot of credit for helping her get across the finish line. Certainly there are people in Mississippi who don't like President Trump. But he's still immensely popular here. He came and did, those big events, one in Tupelo and one on the coast the day before the election, and those helped her a lot. Yeah, he turned some people out who don't like him, who will vote against whoever he's endorsed, but he turns more people out in favor. And so he should get a lot of credit for her victory.
Is this any type of roadmap for what happens for the governor's race when it comes out, or are we looking at kind of some different candidates? Because, just what little I know about everybody, I would assume that maybe Jim Hood's probably maybe a little less popular Democrats, but maybe a little more popular Republicans as far as getting any kind of swing middle ground people, or am I missing that and we're kind of staying on script for 2020?
No, look, I think we will revert back to a much more traditional type race. I have no doubt that Tate Reeves will be the Republican nominee, and I feel pretty confident Jim Hood will be the Democrat nominee. And that'll be a close race. I think it's a race that Tate Reeves is a slight favorite in, and I think it's a race that he ultimately will win, but it won't look anything like this. It just won't. They're both seasoned, politicians, run big races. Yeah, think about this, man. Espy hadn't been on the ballot in 20 years. He made a lot of mistakes, and of course, we talked about the mistake that Hyde Smith made because she's never been in a race like this. You won't see anything like that. I shouldn't say that. They both will make some mistakes, but nothing to this degree. And if they do, they'll quickly clean it up as we get into next year. And I think that race will be much more about policy issues, versus stuff that a candidate may have said or didn't say.
Looking long term out, is there a candidate on the Democratic side nationally that you see emerging as a likely nominee for that Democratic nomination to run against Trump?
Oh, yeah. Look, I've said this in a couple other media hits. I would be willing to bet a lot of money that Beto O'Rourke will be the Democrat nominee for president in 2020. Which, he ran a really tough race against Ted Cruz in Texas, only lost by 2 or 3 points, which is crazy. He's guys in his mid-40s. He energized the Democrats nationally, even in a major red state like Texas. He's a fundraising machine. And the guy raised $30-something million in 1 quarter. And that's just phenomenal. Again, he's got a lot of energy, and probably more importantly is he's where the Democrat Party has moved at a national level, which is to the left. So I think he represents where Democrats are nationally. He represents a younger voice and a newer voice for them, and he certainly is someone that I think will do really well. And I think worst case he'll be the VP choice, but I honestly think he's going to be the nominee for president for the Democrat Party in 2020.
If you were advising him, wouldn't you at least think about, because, beating an incumbent is very difficult, especially if the economy stays up, just what it is. It's going to be very difficult to beat Trump in 2020. Wouldn't you almost want to advise him to wait to 2024 with the gamble that Trump would win in 2020, and that way you're not running against an incumbent, and you would kind of have a clean slate there? It'd also give him a lot more experience between now and then, because you mentioned his age.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
Look, I do not think
All right.
he could beat. I don't think they have anybody that can beat Trump because the economy is doing so well.
Well, that's
And
kind of my
certainly
point, though,
it
isn't
can
it?
turn.
I mean,
stock
I'm
market.
not being rude. I'm just saying, like.
Yeah, I mean.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. But I also think, look, man, politics is like anything. If you go away,
Yeah.
if you get out of the limelight for 2 to 4 years. I mean, it's the same with football coaches, and it's the same with politicians. So you'd almost rather see him compete, do well in the process, go through that process one time. I mean, remember, Mitt Romney had to go through that process before he won the nomination. John McCain had to go through it before he won the nomination. Hillary Clinton had to go through before she won the nomination. So, I mean, when you run for president, that's like nothing you've ever done before. And so, even if you go through and you don't become the nominee, or if you go through and you lose as a Democrat nominee, you still got there's still a potential that you could run again 4 years later. So no, I would not say go away, because I'd be worried that you go away, nobody would remember you.
Anything else?
No, that's interesting. I would have agreed with Chase on waiting 4 years if I'm O'Rourke. But I mean, if you lose in 2020, you don't get to run again in 2024 in all likelihood.
Well, his point's why wouldn't you? I mean,
that's nothing that says that you won't.
Yeah, I just think it's hard to stay relevant that long if you lose. But I could be wrong. You know politics.
It is harder. I'd rather go for it. I mean, if you have a chance to be the nominee of a party and you're on the ballot, you never know what'll happen.
Oh, that's
you just
true.
don't.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, it's a good point. Hey, thanks for the time. Really appreciate it.
Okay, guys, y'all have a good week.
Thanks, Austin. Thanks to Austin for joining us as always to get all that here on the show today. We covered the gamut, if you will. So glad you hung in with us for all that. We'll be back tomorrow. Already got in my head a couple things. We'll continue with this conversation. And hey, it's the days we are dealing with right now. There'll be something new as it moves on, I'm sure. So appreciate all of you. Check rebelgrove.com. Neil's mailbag is up and more content coming. Take advantage of the 99 Cyber, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.